I started training and guys ran over and they were like changing the weights.
Yeah, the weight boy.
And I was like, damn, like this is like too easy.
Imagine if you had that when you were
No,
training.
I always like kind of laughed at like Dexter and Cormier and Flex and those guys because Charles and their crew would change their plates. I'm like, these lazy fucks, you know? All right, so episode 46, Cutler Cast. We kind of wanted to put together a little bit of a conversation piece today. I'm going to take a little Minos.
Are you like doing an official marketing post on this?
No, I'm just.
This looks like you really like you planned this. No. Look at you.
I was waiting for you to get set up. I was filming you actually.
I know you called me Mickey Mouse. Well, if people saw this office here, they would understand why this is a Mickey Mouse Club.
I asked you when you were going to actually hide the wires, you know?
Mickey Mouse Club, I think, is ran much better than this. Whose fault's that? Did you just did scoops and then you just poured the whole thing on top? Look at this mess you made. Are you going to clean it up?
All right, so
you know what we're talking about today, or are
guys,
we just going to?
We want to thank you guys, obviously, for all the support. Shout out to Celsius, too. Larry, you see this right here? This is my favorite cola flavor that you guys probably never tried. I guarantee many of our people haven't tried cola flavor.
Yeah, didn't Larry just say, do you guys even post about Celsius? Yeah. We do all the time. He's kind of being a hater over there, isn't he?
So we have a couple things going on. You know, this week, the Lakers are in town. I know you were talking about going last night. Did you go to the game, Larry, last night or no? Okay. I
didn't know there was a game until I saw someone post something saying the Lakers are playing in Las Vegas. I'm like, shit, I didn't even know, or I would have went. There's a game tonight. They're playing the Timberwolves.
He didn't think that LeBron would play tonight.
Yeah, they said the coach said that he's not going to have the superstars play back-to-back.
All right, well, I know they were kind of picking on Westbrook a little bit because he came out of the gate like crushing it, and then you know he kind of fell off a little bit, and obviously they lost to the Suns. You know,
I think they only play a certain amount of minutes just because it's only the second preseason game. But I don't know. You know, like I said, I don't think LeBron will play tonight. I don't think Anthony Davis.
He's bringing the team to.
What do you think of that?
Vegas.
Would you go to the games?
That's a good question.
Why doesn't Cutler Nutrition get a box for us?
Maybe for basketball.
Yeah, but you'd never go. That's okay. I'll use
the
tickets.
Larry, where are they supposed to build this stadium? Are they going to share something?
I don't. Why wouldn't they just use a T-Mobile Arena? Isn't that what that's for?
Yeah, I don't. They want to do something different.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of like, baseball and basketball. I think basketball will be the last thing. I know they've been talking about the major leagues coming here. So
is baseball still like a draw like it once? When we were kids, baseball was huge. Now I don't hear much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow it as close. I mean, we had a lot of superstars. You know, I was a Boston guy, so I mean, there was a lot of great players in Boston.
I saw a post last night that said some guy hit 62 home runs.
Yeah, that's Aaron Judge, right? Was it Aaron Judge hit 62?
He hit 62 home runs, and they're saying that's better than Barry Bonds. Dude, Barry Bonds hit 73. Case over.
Well, the season's not close to being done, right, Larry? That's the whole thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't follow baseball like that. When I was a kid, I did, but as I got older, I just lost interest.
Think they're all tested now, and it's more.
That's Mickey Mouse Club too. you really think these testing people give a shit? They want home runs. They want people on drugs. I don't care what they say. They do.
Well, I mean, it's just like we talk about bodybuilding all the time. Like if they drug tested it. You know, when they started diuretic testing, it's a little different. People got confused with actual drug testing. I mean, I think 1990 they drug tested, and obviously the guys came in, they didn't have the condition. And that's one thing I always talk about is like the conditioning factor, you know, to get as lean as you get and carry a lot of muscle. Yeah. That's the impossibility without some sort of PEDs, right? Mm-hmm. Really hard for someone to get naturally lean and maintain
without stripping the muscle.
Yeah, without losing the muscle mass.
Yeah. So if they drug tested, I think whoever was smart enough to get around it would look the same, and who wasn't smart enough would look like a downsized version of themselves.
The only reason they would have to test would to be, I mean, if they really wanted to propel bodybuilding to like, I think they could fall like almost like the UFC format where they have this contender series. So you like build up, and obviously the different cultures. As you see now, there's a lot of big superstars coming internationally. I mean, we have Hadi and Rami, we have Ramon, we have Urs, we have all these people now.
A lot of the time, and what's his Andrew Jacked.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that that don't necessarily live in the States that are becoming big superstars. I mean, especially where they're from. You could build this whole transitional period up, and then eventually, like through social media, they're already like blown up, and you're gonna have your certain personalities. The personalities would come out if you actually had some sort of media that pumped media to show these guys' personality, and then they can flourish off of that. The problem is just like, we talk about like with a lot of athletes, and you may know more about professional sports, but they have to kind of teach these guys how to like follow a career path and be smart about their money, their character, like when you get into the NFL or NBA or whatever else. With bodybuilding, it's like you get a pro card and you just go. So you kind of have to make decisions. And I think we've seen a lot of right and wrong decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think most of the time, the people that just focus on the training, or, people love to respect those guys, but unfortunately those guys aren't the entertainment value. They're not like, you see someone like Conor McGregor, who was very outspoken and he became super popular, but now he can't seem to keep himself out of trouble. Right. Yeah.
So it wasn't like a facade with him. This is real. That's how he is.
I mean, when you're in that fight game too, I mean, that's what you make a living off of, using your mouth and your hands, right? Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes no matter what, someone's going to razz you. I mean, even with bodybuilding, like we walk around all big, and I remember times people would whisper under their breath or whatever, and I could have reacted differently, but it's just sometimes it's not worth it, right?
I always wondered when Conor McGregor would do something, you would hear people go, "That's so unprofessional," and in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, dude, he fights for a living. Yeah. I mean, like, you can't expect somebody to turn it on and turn it off. Like, no, it's got to be one gear if you want to. You got to get yours. Think of how you had to get just to go do a show. Imagine if you had to get in a ring where somebody was trying to fucking rip your head off. Like, whatever mindset you have to get to, I don't know if you can just turn that on and off.
Yeah, you don't hear as much now, because people used to say, how can bodybuilding get to the next level? Do you notice we don't hear as much anymore? Like, it seems like people don't expect bodybuilding, because I think when Weeders used to talk about, we're bringing this to the Olympics, right? That was the ultimate goal, and it never transpired. And then when they put it on national TV, and remember when the Olympia the one year was supposed to be on NBC and it never happened.
They filmed it. That was the first year the Rock's crew came.
Yeah, so like none of this stuff ever transpired. So they're kind of just like, people don't really talk about it anymore. They kind of look at other things, and I think, they use the social channels, and I mean, YouTube's become TV now, and that's where people mainly watch things. I mean, when I lay down at night, and, I've watched a lot of different things. Like last night, I was watching something about like real estate and where real estate was going. I do listen to some of these podcasts and like some of these interviews to see what, what's interesting or what's the topic. I listened to Undisputed, and that's how I learned about LeBron this morning with, when we're talking about it, it's going to happen. They said that he's going to be one of the owners, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think just like anything else, when you start hearing about it, he's not talking about it because he's trying to wish it to happen. I think deep down inside, something is already in place, whether it's 2024, 2025, and he's starting to plant the seeds now, because he's not just going to plant that shit unless he's got some type of interest in it. But a team in Vegas would be awesome.
They said Nevada, Las Vegas, and someplace else. Was it Seattle? Yeah.
So Seattle lost.
They had the Supersonics
there. They did, and they weren't getting the support, so the owner moved them to Oklahoma City.
Okay. They became the Thunder.
Yeah, they became the Thunder. So they're saying they think that Seattle should get a team back there before.
Who was the most famous player on the Supersonics? It was
Gary Payton or Sean Kemp.
Yeah, I remember Kemp. Yeah, he was the big.
I mean, they went to the finals against the Bulls.
Yeah, I remember.
And then, I mean, I don't know who else. Detlef Schrempf. Who else did they have back then? But they had. I mean, they had a good team. They went to the finals.
Where are the Lakers playing here in Vegas, Larry?
T-Mobile.
Oh, it's at T-Mobile. Yeah.
I looked it up last night. The tickets tonight are cheaper, but like I said, I don't think the heavyweights will play. I think Anthony Davis will because he sat out yesterday.
Okay.
So I have a feeling they're going to sit LeBron and the other guys out and have the other guys play because it's still preseason. Some of the guys might not make.
Dude, there's like so many things that we can do in Las Vegas, right? I mean, every week it's something, and we don't even know half the things. I mean, we got to walk the NAX show this past week, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know it was here until someone started talking about it.
It's the biggest convenience
store.
And they had everything. They had Bics there,
like
lighters,
gas stations.
Yeah.
From alcohol to anything you see at a convenience store.
Well, we did see Labrada there. We stopped by the Ghost booth for a minute.
You know who else was there? BSN.
Oh, they were there?
Yeah, because I had a call with him yesterday, and he was like, yeah, I saw you guys, but I didn't. I saw Jay in the distance, and we were walking in different directions.
Yeah, shout out to Henry Mack, Nuts and More. He hooked us up with the passes, and you know, we got to kind of walk the floor a little bit. Got to see Joey built was obviously looking.
Dude, those booths, like
how much you think that Coke booth was?
$2 to $3 million. I mean, just think about how much booths cost. Like, think back when you were working with BPI, how much those booths. Those are $200-300 grand.
Of course.
These booths are 5 times the size of that, and they actually have walls constructed. Like, you have to hire people.
Can you imagine the budget? Not only the booth, the actual booth, but to bring the people, the parties,
100+ employees,
all the handouts. Like, people are just walking around, just filling.
So I forgot who was telling us this. I said at the end of the convention, people that own small stores, they run around and they get all the samples so they can sell them in their store because they hand out full candy bars and full cans of whatever it is you want. And so these guys go around and take it all back to their store. But think about it: if you get 10 garbage bags full of stuff that you can sell, you might make 10.
Yeah, I mean, we walked and we saw a couple people and walked, but dude, we didn't even get to visit like the whole flip. I was after an hour, I was pretty much like, okay, we
walked maybe 5% of it.
Yeah, of course.
Just in through the beginning, and we kind of just went.
But trade shows are back in Vegas, you know?
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, the Olympia is like crushing it. I had a call earlier today. They're going to have, I'm assuming it's going to be just completely packed out. Because you got to think companies weren't able to have expos for 2 years, and now they can. So the companies that want to do them, this is a prime opportunity to do it at the Olympia.
Yeah, week before Christmas, December. Yeah. Everyone's going to be in Las Vegas, so we'll be there checking it out. And
does that mean you're going to be here for Christmas too?
No, I go to Jersey actually on the 23rd, maybe.
Yeah.
I think just before.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do this
year. So qualifications Olympia. We've had a couple of shows that took place. I think Rome is this weekend. I just heard from James. He's going to compete in Rome.
Oh, is it Rome? Yeah. Oh, that's right. There was at the Tsunami.
It's in Rome.
Tsunami
Cup.
Yeah.
So
Tsunami.
James is going to.
I thought he should have did the show last weekend.
Well, he said he just needed a little time for his body to come back a little bit. Yeah. But we also have Reno this weekend.
Yep, Reno. I'm going to fly up for it, and Jamie the Giant is doing it. Justin Rodriguez, Stanimal. I don't know who else is listed on there, but look, I mean, Jamie the Giant, we saw him in
if you were going to pick who is going to be victorious, who would you say? I mean, you have to say Justin, right?
You would say Justin on paper because he's been a top 10 guy.
What was he missing in March?
I think he just wasn't
conditioned, right?
Yeah. So if he's conditioned, he's going to be the favorite.
He's with George Farah now. Do you know that?
No.
Okay, that's his coach now. Yeah.
I would assume he would be on paper. He should be the guy that should win. Will he? I don't know. If he looks like he did the last show, then Jamie or Stanimal could maybe get it. Or I'm sure there's someone else doing it where we haven't, seen or paid attention to. But I would assume Justin, Jamie will be the two that are.
Is this the last U.S. qualifier?
It could be. Because we still have
for Romania, men's open, I mean.
Romania, Spain.
It is, right?
I think so. I don't know if is there another one in California? No. No, I think this is the last one in the States.
Yeah, for men's open, yeah.
And I think there's still 3. I think there's 2. There's another Italy show. There's 2 more in Spain, but I think the second one in Spain qualifies for next year. Because originally, before Regan decided to sit out, we actually talked about if you're going to do the Olympia, because he can hold his condition while he travels. And I said, why don't we go do that Spain show 4 weeks out, go get that show, and then you're qualified for next year already. But obviously, he sat out. So I think there's like 4 more open shows. Oh, no, there's still Prague.
Yeah, no, but nothing in the States.
No, I think this is the last one in the States. Who do you think, Justin?
I mean, I don't have a relationship necessarily with him. I mean, obviously, I respect him a lot, but I know Jamie. I mean, love to see a big guy like that in the Olympia. I think he has something special where it's just so different from everyone else, and his balance and symmetry is there. And we keep talking about, even though I wasn't an aesthetic guy earlier in my career, I was a lot more aesthetic, but I feel like bodybuilding needs, some of these guys with these heights that can prove that they can be competitive, because, we've seen the smaller guys, like as far as, not like my height, like 5'9", you see Nick Walker, you see Hadi Chupin, William Bonnick. I mean, all these guys have been obviously relevant as top guys. But now you're seeing like the Jacks, and I mean, I think I consider Rami a little taller, but, these kind of people that, who else has good height like that? I mean,
Samson.
Blessing is a little taller.
Well, Samson is 6 foot plus. Yeah. Regan's 6 foot plus. Rami. I mean, I'm a little over 6 foot. He's my height.
Okay.
I mean, he might be 5'11". He's taller.
So Ronnie Coleman height.
Yes.
But we need that diversity, because if everyone's just a complete freak and short, like the dynamic's not really there. So like, we had Gunter back in the day, and then, remember Roland Kickinger, they were all tall guys, but they had their own aura about them because they're just different. Yeah. And I think Jamie, the more people learn about him, I being over in the UK and hearing the crowd applause, obviously he's from there. He's really respected, as was James. I mean, James had the loudest ovation of anyone.
Yeah.
But, back in our era, like we had Branch and myself, and like we weren't super tall guys. Phil was even 5'9", but, it's great to see the diversity of the athletes. And like I said, I think that now with the media channels, that's what's going to make these bodybuilders even more well known. I mean, it's like the Bumstead effect, right? I mean, he's a YouTuber that also is unbelievable on stage. So he has the combination of both. I feel Regan still is that, even though he just needs to get his placings up, which hence why, people are still questioning, why is he sitting out? I mean, if you see him in the gym on a daily now, you'd understand why, right?
Yeah.
The sleep has really helped, and we talked about this.
When you see Regan in the gym now, I never thought I could say this, but you can see from a month ago to now, he's dramatically bigger.
Well, maybe because he was starting, thinking he can't get too big because he had to start coming down, and obviously he wasn't going to be 300 competing, right?
Yeah.
But, I just wonder what his mindset's going to be. It's kind of funny. When I sat out in 02, bro, I didn't even go to the show.
Yeah.
I just couldn't go because I was like, I would.
You were here, though.
I was here. I was watching on pay-per-view TV. And if you ask me why I didn't go, number one, they never invited me to go. They didn't say, hey.
Why is there a history of you not getting invited?
Well, remember in 01, I lost, and it was kind of controversial, and Wayne was running it then, and they never sent me an invitation like, hey, we want you to come. Like now they are making sure, hey, Jay, make sure you're at the show. So I think for then, I never got an invitation to come. So why would I go? I mean, I'm not going to ask, hey, please, can I come to the show? I mean, I was second last year.
So do you think Regan sitting out watching it will be good for him to see
I think it will give him some motivation.
Yeah.
And he's obviously going to see some of his friends up there, or guys that he maybe beat or did not beat, that, you can kind of get a different perspective on things when you watch it from the audience, especially when you're competitive. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like the guys that had the dream. I'm sure like Nick Walker used to watch me up there. I don't know how many Olympias he attended, and say, man, I'm going to be Jay someday, Yeah. And, you have to build your confidence that way. But Regan's probably never witnessed, the last few years. Remember, he's been in the Olympia every year for the past 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
because he was there for Classic prior.
He did Classic in 18, 19 he sat out, and then 20 he was there, and 21 he was there.
So hopefully they'll give him a good seat.
Well, we'll make sure he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make sure he's good. It'll be good for him to, like you said, just to see the guys up there, and hopefully it motivates him.
Yeah, so
because he could be there next year.
So we had the Elevation grand opening.
Yep.
Okay, and that's one of the new gyms in Las Vegas, one of many that are supposed to open here. We talk about the gym culture, and we're going to branch off of Vegas, but I do want to focus on Vegas for a minute. Fit Club is going through a crazy transformation right now. Talk a little bit about that.
They got, so that's Regan's home gym, and him and Andy train there. And with Regan being there, they wanted to get more equipment for someone of his size, heavier dumbbells and everything. And they got I want to say 25 pieces, unique pieces that no one else has in town. But some of them might not even be anywhere on the West Coast.
Well, they have some chain-driven things.
Yep.
I saw you sent me that leg curl they had, which they had a band on it. It's a leverage machine, so it's a plate loaded.
Yeah, plate loaded
hamstring curl.
Yep.
But it seems like they banned it for the constant tension, right?
Yeah, constant tension. There's some other different
like there's some
pieces.
Atlantis, some arm curl,
some old
pieces,
Atlantis, some old
Body
Nautilus.
Master.
And then on the back, so they got the next building, the next office over, they got it. So they busted a hole through, and now they're going to have a whole leg side that's another 1,500 plus square feet just for legs. So Fit Club's kind of taken the step up to, have a lot of the other equipment that the other bodybuilding.
And
have.
we were bragging about Elevation because they have a ton of different things in there too. They seem to handpick. It's not just like
one
when
brand.
you go in a gym, it's one brand, right?
Yeah.
Which I felt like, they had Arsenal, they had
everything,
hammer strength, like
mixture.
fitness, yeah. And they had all these funky leg presses. And then we go to, Powerhouse, which we were blown away by the equipment there, right?
It's mostly new tech.
Okay. I train at Kilo, great equipment. I mean, you can't beat LVAC or EOS has everything, right? Also, Yaks is another facility. I mean, it's right next door.
Atlantis.
Yeah, so they have Atlantis, which we feel is one of the good ones.
One of the better ones.
And I know, a lot of people are getting Panada. I know Panada is supposed to be coming to Elevation also. And I don't know.
Have, actually, yesterday, Andy told me they got the Panada, that one that Steve wanted? That
it switches
out. They bought one.
Okay.
So Fit Club's going to have one of those now, too. The incline shoulder, the single.
It turns from a shoulder into
shoulder
and it has
chest.
the individual handles, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, the gym doesn't stop. The gym culture don't stop here.
No, I mean, I had a conversation with another top 5 person in their division that's moving to two top 5 people in the same category are both moving to Vegas. And they'll see who they are when they do a video together because we've already talked about it. But this is the place to be if you want to be in the fitness space. The influencers are here. Who doesn't come to Vegas once a year?
I know, but I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Powerhouse Convention's actually in town today, so shout out to Powerhouse Gym. We're going to talk about the East Coast Mecca because
the ultimate powerhouse.
Yeah. It's kind of got its own name, right? It's either Bev's, it's Powerhouse, it's Steve's Gym, whatever we want to call it. But best gyms we've traveled to, if you could probably pick, I would say the top 3 because I have 3 in mind. I have 4 in mind actually that I probably been to. So I'm going to mention first of all my good friend Steve Weinberger's Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym. I mean that is an absolute shrine to bodybuilding. Number 1, the walls.
Yes.
But the equipment's AA plus, right? He's got everything.
And you know what I love about it? The last time you and I were there, Steve doesn't need anyone's opinions. No. He's been there for how long? Yeah. He literally came over to us and says, what do you guys think of the gym? And what else can I do to make it better? It's like, it's already, but that's why it's like that.
But it's the culture too. He's got the boxing ring in there. He's doing that. He's got the posing room. People are going there to pose.
Yep.
You got Sadiq there. You have.
Does Juan still train there?
Juan still trains there. Frank Seppi trains there. Max Charles trains there. The late George Peterson was there.
Yep.
Anyone that who is through there in a normal day, right?
Yeah.
We always make the trip to Bev's,
of course,
when we go out there.
Of course.
it's very welcoming in that sense, but it's super motivational. I just saw Flex was there and C-Bum was there training, and everyone always wants to pop in and visit. But I want to mention that we've been to Oxygen, okay, and then there's multiple locations now.
We went to the biggest one before it opened, Jabira, I think it is.
Okay,
we went to that one, but from what I understand, they got 3 or 4 more that are going in Saudi Arabia that are even bigger than that one. Like,
but the original that we were at, I remember we went on a Friday night. It was packed
at midnight.
Yeah, and they have the restaurant in there, and they have basically the strangest thing that my experience there. I started training, and the guys ran over, and they were like changing the weights.
Yeah, the weight boy.
And I was like, "Damn, like this is like too easy."
Imagine if you had that when you were.
No, I always like kind of laughed at like Dexter and Cormier and Flex and those guys because Charles and their crew would change their plates. I'm like, these lazy fucks, So I was like, man, I just I was East Coast mentality, hard headed a little bit. So. But we got to experience that gym culture, and they have everything. I mean, the gym we toured before it opened, I mean, it had like the swimming pool and all that shit underneath, right?
It had I think it had like one floor was just legs and back. The next floor was like shoulders and chest. The next floor was like arms. But it's cool that you can go to a gym that they will literally have every option under one roof.
I love how they don't brand any of the equipment either. They
rip all the labels off, so you don't know who it is.
I'm like, okay, what's this piece? And that's the first time I saw that. I mean, they have it at Fit Club now, but I think Arsenal makes it too. It's like the fly machine that you put the plates on.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that, being like, oh, that thing's pretty good. I think Steve has it at his gym now. But Red's Gym in Louisiana, unbelievable gym.
I've never been to that one, but I know you've talked about
Rome after Rome after Rome. I mean, Louisiana was the original location of Body Masters, but that is a facility in Louisiana you have to check out, man. It was like, anytime you mention, oh, you've ever been to Red's, like, you don't even have to say Red's Gym or anything. Everyone knows what it is, right?
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy gym. The Mecca, Gold's Gym Venice. You don't like it.
I don't know. It's a dump. I just, you know what it is? When I first went to the Mecca for the first time, the first time you go there, it has a certain level of just this magic feeling you get there. And now when I go there, it just doesn't have it anymore. It used to be inside. Now it's partially outside. When the first time I went in there was tons of like known people in there. Now it just seems like a normal gym.
I'm going to be there next week, and all my videos do the best at Gold's Gym Venice. I have a very how could I say this? I have like a respect factor for Gold's Gym Venice because, when Ed Connors owned it, it was like where I walked in and I said, I need to do this. I need to be a bodybuilder. I need to have my image on the wall. They had the best of the best equipment back in the day where, like, you would literally, they put trial pieces before they launched it in their prototypes, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Gym 80 has it. Like you said, you're talking about the area around it has definitely gone downhill, meaning like the homeless encampments and everything else, right? They cleared a lot of that out. But you're not going to go there and expect a super clean gym, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the doors are open all day. I mean, back and forth, the breeze and everything else. I mean, the gym's going to not stay as cleanliness as some of our gyms that are all in AC.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think, it does have this place. Like if someone wants to come train, they're going to go to Gold's Gym Venice. I mean,
we still go there.
I don't know if any gym in Vegas has the aura of Gold's Gym Venice.
Well,
or any place probably in the world almost.
No, Steve's does. I think Steve's does. It might not. Well, no, let me take a step back. Gold's Gym Venice is just known because of Arnold.
Of course, and it's in California, but
Venice Beach. And it
wasn't even where Arnold necessarily trained.
Yeah.
That's someone's home now, which, by the way, they can't change. It's a historical landmark, so it still says Gold's Gym on the front.
I think it doesn't have what it once did, but Gold's Gym's always going to be. It was the first. It was in Pumping Iron. It was one of the first known gyms, but it just doesn't have it for me. Like the reason why Vegas doesn't have that, there hasn't been a gym here that has that type of history. You know, like Flex's gym's new, but it's been around for a little over a year. Maybe the old Gold's gym on Flamingo maybe did it. If it would still be here at one point, maybe that would.
Dude, I want to open a gym and have every single Instagram professional. I want them training at one spot. That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that's something that someone could do. You could do that. You could. And it just.
I was saying that the other day when. I don't know where I was. I was talking to Wolf's, one of his training partners, and I said, it'd be great if we could get everyone in one space that came there every single day. And I mean, kind of like Alpha Land's doing. I mean, there's so many, like the influencers now are collaborating there, people going there to do the collaborations. Like, it'd be nice if there was one destination that everyone, but the problem is we have so many different, like, you have so many different options here.
You know what, though? But, you know, I've told you this before. You could do it because it's you and it's Las Vegas. And you're not someone that just moved here. You've been here for 2 decades. And you have the respect factor. You know, there's not anybody can do it because you have to be universally loved by people to really pull that off.
How big of a space do you think you'd need to have that big enough location to have it suitable for everyone's needs?
30 to 50,000 square feet.
Yeah. I'd say 50, yeah.
50. That 50 is because look, if you really want to do it like that, you need a CrossFit area. So top CrossFitters would come there. And it's not, we have to understand our culture is not the only gym culture out there. There are other people that go for functional training. There are people that are CrossFitters. There's strongmen. There's powerlifters. Not everybody is going to have a bodybuilding type mentality. So if you want to have everybody in one spot, you need to have something that draws people in, even influencers. Like,
don't you feel today, though, and I experienced this myself, people want to be left alone.
Of course.
Like, kind of that's a decision on where they train.
Yes. We see it here firsthand. You know, you train at the gyms you go to. I mostly go to Fit Club and I go to Lift Factory sometimes. I go to Elevation. And, you know, I pop around the different Dragons and the different gyms, but there's certain reasons why certain people go to certain gyms, and that is because
I love Lift Factory.
They'll leave you alone, you know. And if you go to certain gyms, if you're a known person in the fitness industry, you're going to have hundreds of people there. They're going to want to take pictures with you.
Yeah,
they're going to want to talk to you.
That's why my videos do so well at Gold's Venice.
Yes,
because I have so many people coming up, and people love to see their interaction, to see how the responses are.
But you would never train there every day if you live there.
Probably not.
No. But when you go there now, it's an event. Mm-hmm. You're going there for a purpose, and you know ahead of time you're not going to get the best workout in. You're there to film a video and to mingle and to give back. But if you had to train every day, there's no way you would go.
Do you get sick of training at the same spot, though?
No, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't. It depends. I mean, well, I think.
Can you imagine when you were 21, you would have drove an hour to the gym every day?
In my mid-20s, I did drive 45 minutes every
and you
day.
you didn't care, right?
Not
Can you
bit.
Imagine now if you had to drive 20 minutes?
I wouldn't train. I'd be like, fuck this. It's kind of like that now where I went and got a membership at EOS because there's one 100 yards from my house. And I'm like, sometimes you just don't want to go anywhere. And you're like, I still want to train. So it's $10 a month. So I'll just walk across the street and go get a workout in.
2 gym memberships.
Me? No, I have more. I have.
Larry, how many gym memberships do you have?
None.
What do you have?
One.
LVAC. You don't have Lifetime? I figured you would have Lifetime. You're big time. Oh, you got rid of it.
I mean, I got Fit Club, Dragon's Lair, Elevation, EOS, and Lift Factory. Those are the 5 that I'll kind of pop between. It depends on the day too. I don't have a membership there. I mean, I'm sure I mean, it's Yaks is 300 yards from
I think
my house.
I'm actually going to train at Lift Factory tonight and film there.
You should. I tell people that all the time. Every once in a while, I love going there because it's just that grimy, like that's a bet for me. I'd go there to do legs. Yeah. Leg day, it's grimy and it's got no AC and it's just you get it in when you're there. You're there to work.
It's got some AC, but
does it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never noticed. It's always.
But everyone's just training there, dude. That's all they're doing.
The other thing too is
it's not super crowded.
If you're a known person, you're gonna want to go places that are not crowded, so you can actually get your workout in. I've noticed, like I said, certain people, if they go to certain gyms, they get bombarded. Other times they go to certain gyms and people leave them alone. And they might wait for a picture after. They'll know, hey, let them work out. It depends on the gym and kind of the policy of the gym too.
Yeah, so my goal for next year is I just mentioned, 4 facilities. I'm going to travel to every single one of these spots and do a whole combination of like what the gym is.
I thought there was another.
What else is there? Maybe let's let the viewers or the listeners chime in. What other gyms? I mean, we can talk about San Diego
Worlds.
The gym.
The gym, yeah.
It's really good. I mean, we're missing a ton of these. I'm not. And I apologize.
MI40 in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean that's known. Montanari Brothers gym in Connecticut is supposed to be really, really solid.
I thought there was another gym in like Kansas or Nebraska that was like some crazy massive gym. Why am I forgetting it? It's
Super Fitness, or I don't know.
Colorado. Go up to Armbrust.
Yeah, Armbrust Gym. That's right. Yeah.
Another gym that would be good to go to that you've never been to is just go to Dana and Rob's private home gym or their office gym, which is nicer than
the
most.
Flagler Field Gym used to be a popular one. They closed it.
Yep. There's a lot of
Shout
gyms.
out to Rob Bailey. He called and said, I have a trailer truck. I'll deliver all the equipment to your house. I'm like, where the fuck am I going to put it? I think my warehouse was full at the time back here. So I'm like, I don't have the space for this. To think back, I should have just taken that shit.
So maybe, what we should do next year? Let's see if we can, if I can convince the boss to fucking put a budget together so we can do the top 10 gyms in America. And we'll do a podcast at each one.
I don't know if we can do 10 gyms though. Is there going to be? I mean,
top 5.
It's choice. Like everyone's choice is different. It's. I don't want to leave out like, when we talk about the gyms in Vegas, like we talk about square footage, and it's like we have the lift factories and like the Flexes gyms. I feel are smaller. Where I train at Kilo, which is like 30,000 feet, and gosh, LVAC must be.
They're 80 to 100,000.
It's crazy, right?
And some of the new EOSs as well.
Well, and, I think they've downsized a little bit, but they have an outdoor one over on the other side of town. We should go check it out one day. Okay. So they, this is the time of year, right? The weather's perfect right now. And that's the one thing in Vegas, like we can't have the indoor-outdoor situation. It's like Fit Club where they open the door and it makes it so much nicer when the door is open.
Get that breeze.
But damn, like it's too hot to do that half the time, right?
Yeah.
So it would be good to do a traveling circus with us to kind of promote these at the same time. I'm sure we'd have, welcoming, people that would love us to come in and do these topics and kind of do the interviews. But, I'd love to get people's insight on what their favorite gyms are, why, maybe tell some experiences on there. We did mention the other gyms. I'm sure some of our viewers are training there. Mm-hmm. So shout out to everyone. I mean, our Kuwait gyms, like, let's hear from our Kuwaiti people,
Even like, so we're going to Dubai in 2.5 weeks. And I was looking up hotels and where the expo is at, but we want to stay close to Beano's because that's.
Do you remember when we went to Beano's and they weren't open yet? Did you? Oh, you weren't with me.
What I did? I don't know.
I went and trained there before it was open.
Did, yeah. No, we both did.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah, because we went upstairs and we went there before it opened.
We sat in his office.
Yep, we sat in his office. Yeah, that was.
But remember that the equipment was still dirty, like it had just got set up.
We trained arms there.
Yeah, that's right, because they didn't have a lot of weights. Remember, they didn't have plates really. Yeah. They had some dumbbells.
And then we trained at the Oxygen in Abu Dhabi before it opened.
That's right.
We went to the other one, and we've been to a lot of gyms before they opened.
I kind of wish I was going to Dubai. Unfortunately, it fell. I have the Cutler Classic coming up on the 29th.
How's that looking?
It looks great. We do it in Lynn, Mass. Now it's not in downtown Boston, but we're actually going to stay in Boston. We got an Airbnb, like a house, like a brownstone, and we're actually going to not only visit my family, but we're doing the whole Halloween thing. That's kind of our 6th year where we kind of started hanging out. So, we love to do the East Coast Halloween tours. So we're going to go to Salem and all these other things, but. The show is always like this is the end year, and of course nationals aren't till December 1, so we're actually still working on qualifying people in order to get on stage. So people look at these shows at the end of the season before the holidays, even though they're having nationals a lot later this year, where people can still qualify and try to go for the pro card.
Yeah, there's a lot of I'm trying to think. Is there any other big like?
Gym chains or
gyms. Another gym. So I was on the phone with Brian Shaw this morning, and he still wants you to come check out his new gym. And his gym's like,
is it public or
no?
Okay.
It's just for him. It's on his property. I think it's like 6,000 or 7,000 square feet. It's just on his property.
What's his plan for World's Strongest Man?
I don't know. You know, I'm not sure if he's gonna. I don't know. You know, I mean,
we're with Eddie Hall in the UK, and
yeah,
I had that square off picture, and I didn't think about it because I put it on my Instagram, and I said, "Make me look tough," and I actually said that to you.
Did, yeah.
So I don't think that unless you were there, you would understood.
Yeah.
And
you stood there next to him and said, "How do I make me look tough?"
You know what the funny thing is, though, is I did look smaller, but I didn't look as small as I probably did in person, right? Because he's still a pretty big dude.
Eddie's still 350, and he's like 6'3".
So I said 340 versus 240, right?
He's still a big dude, man. But yeah, Brian, I don't know. We were just talking about some other business stuff he's working on, and he's got so much stuff with his supplement line and his belt line, and he just moved into that new building, and so he's just like, I need to get Jay up here. He wants you to do a podcast. Yeah,
we'll do a podcast. We'll do a training.
Do a training. We'll see if you can grab his 230-pound dumbbells.
Dude, I went to move what are those 150s?
150s, yeah.
So I was training arms, and they were like, one was on the floor, and I was just trying to be a good guy and like put them neat. And I literally went to pick up the 150 because it was, laying flat on the floor, and one was standing on end. And I grabbed it, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't pick this up without ripping my biceps. So I had to take two hands, and I had to prop it up.
Yeah.
And I used to grab those things.
Like nothing.
Like with a hook on my hand without even a closed hand, and just, dude, I used to row 200s like nothing. I used to shoulder press that shit.
Yeah.
Easy. 160s I used to shoulder press for 12, and it's just amazing at 49, dude. And, minus.
I have to like talk myself down, because when I see him there, I'm like, I know I can still do them. But I'm so afraid I'm going to tear something.
Oh, my God, that would tear my fucking chest in two.
There was a time where maybe a year ago, Mark Anthony and I went and trained at Flex's gym. And at the time, I think his heaviest were like 140s. We did the 140s on incline for like 10 to 12 reps.
You wouldn't fuck with that now, though, would you? Or
I'm sure I could do it, but I would be scared because of my shoulder surgery. Yeah. And I'm sure I still can, but is it worth it?
You're going to be 44 this month. 2 weeks. Yeah. Oh. And what are you going to do for your birthday? What's the celebration this year? Are you overseas during that? Or are you here?
I'm going to be working.
Are you flying that day or no?
I don't know. It's actually, my birthday is actually on the Dubai Pro Show.
It's a Saturday.
Sunday.
Okay.
So I think I leave for Italy on the 19th, and I'll be in Italy the 20th, 21st, and then the 22nd, I'm going to fly to Dubai, and I think Regan's going to meet me there in Dubai, and then we'll be in Dubai for about 7 days, because we'll be at the most likely Dubai Pro Show, and then there for the Dubai Muscle Show.
What's Regan doing for appearances at the Dubai Muscle Show? He's
got to go for Yamamoto.
Okay.
And
they have a booth there?
Yep, they got a booth, and we'll also have, I'm sure he'll do some collaborations. I spoke to Big Ramy the other day.
Dude, I don't miss that time change. Do you remember we would be up in the night? I remember going to I found some Powerhouse Gym, and I trained like in the middle of the night because it was 24 hours.
I remember we trained at another gym. It was like some techno hip gym or something that was like, it was just in like some shopping
Well, Nick
plaza.
took us, remember? I think it was
And then there was an outside where they filmed it. Remember?
Yeah.
Actually, Dana and Rob came there with us to film that outdoor stuff. Mm-hmm.
It was out in front of the on the beach and all that.
What was that? What was that other gym? There was another gym that we went to.
Train.
That's what it was.
Yeah, Train Fitness.
Yep. That was a nice.
That guy took care of us really well.
He was from America, and then he moved back over. I forgot his name. But his
name was Zach.
Zach.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah.
But when we go to Dubai, obviously Regan will be there, and he's going to want to train with people, and there'll be a lot of names there. I know Rolly will be over there.
Sergio will be there.
Sergio's there. I'm
assuming Larry Wheels.
Yeah, Larry Wheels is there. Andrew Jack lives there. I'm assuming he's still there. Ramy, if we can, at one point, maybe if we can do something with him, because we spoke the other night for about 10, 15 minutes. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a lot of other people there.
Speaking of, I remember Blessing was there for a while.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel like the Nigerians will stack up at the Olympia? Like you have Samson, you have Andrew Jack, and you have Blessing. And you have now Patrick.
Yeah.
Who just qualified last week, right?
One of them is going to bust through, if not two.
Damn, that would be a great call out, huh?
I was just going to say this before. Think of the top guys in the world. How many are Americans right now? Just think about it.
I don't know. So Nick Walker,
Nicker and
Hunter.
Who else? Ian's Canadian. Regan's Canadian. Like
William
Bonnick, overseas. Rami, Hadi.
Damn, bro. It's
like,
a lot.
Like there's only in the top 10, there might be 2 Americans.
Wow.
To where it used to be mostly Americans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I don't know who's going to bust through in that group, but there's a very good chance Andrew Jacked will. He's somebody who could be in the top 5, depending on how he looks. Samson's someone who could be in that first call out. There's a very good chance 2 of them could be in.
Lessing said he's going to be in the top 5. I just saw he posted.
I mean, maybe he will. I don't know. I hate making predictions.
George is going to have his hands full with all his athletes.
Yeah, he'll be very busy this year. And then, no, there's another. Well, we don't know where he's going to place yet, but Derek Lunsford.
That's right. Yeah.
He's the wild card.
Every week we have these discussions. We keep talking about, and we haven't spoke about Blessing for a while, and we forget. Like he dominated the early season, right?
He won 2 shows. Yeah.
And Lunsford just okay, well, he hasn't competed, so I keep forgetting about where he's going to be, and
he's the ultimate wild card.
Yeah, I mean, Hani's not going to miss with that one.
Hey, I've said this before. You're the first one that said this. Hani doesn't miss, so he's going to be as good a shape as he can be in. Where will that place? I have no idea. There's a lot of tall guys now, but Derek has obviously crazy lines. He's proportionate.
We got to get Phil Heath on here prior to the Olympia. Hopefully he can come in a little earlier and we can get his kind of breakdown of his favorites for the top 10 or so.
Yeah, we'll definitely make that.
I think we're gonna have to make top 10 forecast this year.
I don't give a shit whoever makes their predictions are not going to be right.
I know.
Because somebody is going to I think someone's going to bust through and just shock everybody.
Yeah.
And look, we haven't even spoke Crizzo's competing this weekend in Italy to get his pro card.
Okay.
So if you seen the recent pictures of him, he looks like he's ridiculous. So, and then he's going to go do whatever show, Prague. Who's going to beat him?
Maybe you can put the pictures up because I didn't see what he looks like yet.
Yeah, he's been posting pictures. I think I saw something that said 3 days out. So he's another wild card. Where is he going to be? I mean, he still has to turn pro, and he still has to qualify. I'm assuming he will, but
everyone assumes he will.
Yeah, well, if you assume, you make an ass of you and me. So we'll see what happens. There's this year's Olympia will be probably the most unpredictable. Because think about it, back when you were competing, you kind of knew who was going to be in that top 5.
Yeah, I mean, unless the surprise like myself or Ronnie changed the game.
Yeah, but
they didn't have it. I mean, Gustavo came up. I mean, you saw Gunter break through. I mean, Dexter was kind of there. Cormier was there.
Yeah.
Who else was finishing in those top spots? I mean, Phil came upon. He started breaking through.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of knew who your contenders were, right? Yeah. Where this year, this is just really hard. We still talk about the top 3 being the top 3, but that, as we get closer, that seems a little harder to predict.
Hey, man, look.
I still think, Brandon's just training like we saw pictures, right? A couple weeks ago.
Brandon's as big as he's ever been, and it's going to be hard for someone to crack into that top 3 with those guys there. But you know what? There are guys there that could do it. Look, you know this. I mean, were you on or off more in your career?
Off.
So guess what? A lot of outside of Hadi, who hasn't. When's the last time he's been off? Every one of those guys has been on and off at some point. So we say those top 3 is going to be tough to penetrate, but any one of those guys can be off. And if just imagine hypothetically if a Brandon's off and Nick Walker nails it.
You just hope that your off is better than everyone else's because that's what.
Yes.
Sometimes Mr. Olympia is like. I mean, Phil Heath was 7 times in a row, but how many of those 7 was he?
I think he was only on point twice. Like I think 2013 and 20.
Ronnie Coleman, how many times was he on? Absolute 100%.
2, maybe 3. So it'll be interesting. I'm just glad I'm not a judge because could you imagine having to judge that? Because a lot of these physiques are completely different too. I mean, think about it. You're going to have you're going to have at least 4 guys that are 6 foot up that could be in that top 10. And then you're going to have a bunch of guys that are 5'6" or so, from Hottie to William to Nick Walker to I know I'm missing
Hunter.
Hunter's a little taller. Derek, I mean, there's 4 guys there that are much shorter. So how do you place if somebody's tall or somebody's short? Like, how do you place that?
William Bonnick,
Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting.
Well, listen, tickets are on sale, MrOlympia.com. I know the VIP, the golds are sold out. I don't know if silvers are gone, but get your tickets. Make sure you guys check it out. We'll be in the house.
Yeah. I'm excited more because I got to go tour the facility with Dan Solomon and the crew, and it was
the Zappos Theater.
Yeah, it's just kind of like the first time, like, we go to bodybuilding shows, and they're cool.
How cool is it?
But it's different because that's a performing arts facility. So there's not a bad seat in the house anywhere, and it's just the lighting, it's like it's the ultimate. Yeah. So we're gonna actually get to see bodybuilding. I don't know if there's another time that it's been at a better venue. Maybe Madison Square Garden. Like, I don't know what that setup was like. That's obviously one of the most prestigious places in the world, but I don't know what the setup was like. But this actual setup with the bowl and the way the seats are and the stage,
pretty cool. Yeah, I've been there.
It's gonna be a good time.
Well, we look forward to it. So we'll be back on after this weekend.
Yep.
I know we got a crazy travel schedule, so make sure you guys comment below. Top gyms.
Where should we go?
Conversations. Yeah, where should we go first? Kuwait's going to be the hardest to go to, but thank you guys so much for following. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the video, and we'll see you guys in the next episode 47 coming up. Thanks.